into the 2.85 hybrid stroker motor for my 86 944 turbo. I made a couple mistakes putting the engine together before. Luckily, a couple of you guys pointed that out to me, so I can get it fixed now. One of the issues was I over-torqued the rod bolts. I think I torqued them to 75 foot-pounds and they should be 35 foot-pounds. Also, I measured the in-play on the crankshaft, and although it was right at 4 thousandths, which is the minimum of what spec should be, I was seeing some hairline slivers of metal coming from the thrust bearing as I was rotating the engine. So basically I'm going to have to pull apart the whole bottom end here. I'll leave the crank and the rods and pistons in, but I have to take off the main girdle. From what I understand, the best way to line these main girdles up is to bolt on the oil pump onto the front of the crank snout here, and that will line up the crank girdle, and then hopefully that'll give us the extra clearance we need. But I'll make sure that there's no other underlying issues when I pull the girdle off and take a look at the thrust bearing. So, gonna get into it now. So before we take the main girdle off, I'll show you here. This is where the oil pump will actually meet up, and what's that gonna do is it's gonna mate these two flange faces, if you will, right here perfectly smooth. And then hopefully we'll stop having issues with our thrust bearing down here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it off and see what we're looking at. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but the thrust bearing looks to be in good shape. It looks like, if anything, the corners there were just not perfectly aligned, just like I had suspected, and they were wearing down just a hair. So it's a good thing we pulled it apart. We will go ahead and redo the special Loctite there along the oil passage and slap it back together. Well, more mistakes. You cannot have the power steering bracket on and get the oil pump on. So I get to take that off again. So the oil pump is on. For some reason, I'm missing two bolts. One there and one over there. For any of you 944 gurus out there, if you can tell me why I might be missing two. I bagged and tagged everything. So, I don't know if maybe they would be used in maybe the oil pan going on or what, but if you know, put a comment down below and give me an idea what's going on. So, anyhow, oil pump's on, and now it is time to go ahead and retorque the girdle down. Now that those couple issues are finally taken care of, I can move on to the balance shaft delete. Now I went ahead and did the passenger side. Lindsey Racing's kit doesn't come with any instructions whatsoever, so there was a little bit of trial and error. Come to find out, the front portion of the balance shaft delete kit is side specific, so make sure that you get those right. Beyond that, I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and you guys can follow along. Okay, so here we have the balance shaft delete. This piece actually goes right here, which is where the main cap for the balance shaft was beforehand. This is what allows oil to continue through this cap and come out for your oil supply. I went ahead and put some assembly lube on these O-rings just to lube them up, make sure nothing gets pinched as we're putting it together, and it just slides in like so. Here we have our bearing main cap. One thing you'll notice, this piece right here, that's a rubber seal and that's what actually seals the main cap to the balance shaft cover, and that's your oil feed for your turbo, so make sure you replace that. Mine was hard as a rock. Also, this can only go on one direction, so make sure you line it up with your balance shaft cover. Push that on. One of the things I'm doing, which was suggested by multiple people, is to Loctite the bolts on pretty much everything on the engine. Now that the balance shafts are going to be deleted, it is going to be pretty buzzy. So we're going to go ahead and Loctite it all down and make sure it stays together. This rear end plug, make sure you put a new O-ring on this. The new O-rings do come with the kit. It just slides in right here in the back. And then we'll take our Loctite 574 and go around and do a real thin coat everywhere. I like to go back with my fingers and just tap it all the way around. Gets it even and tacks it up just a little bit. Now you can go ahead and drop your balance shaft cover back on and put the bolts in. Now that the balance shaft cover is on, all that's left is the front. This is the front of the Lindsey Racing balance shaft elite plug. The back is like that. So basically the front is all CNC billet aluminum. The back is just a washer and a screw, and you slide it in from the front. It has O-rings around here, and then you clamp it on the back. I replaced this O-ring as well. Once again, they were super brittle, and I put some assembly lube on there once again just to keep it from tearing. So I'll get this installed and our balance shaft elite is complete. Those two issues are now taken care of. Glad to be able to give you guys an update on the stroker. It's finally starting to look a little bit more like an engine, which is great. We're going to continue working on it. We're going to get the oil pan baffle welded in and installed so we can bolt up the oil pan. We've got the Lindsey Racing steam vent kit for the head, so I'll go through showing you guys how to drill into your cylinder head and install that, and then we'll get the cylinder head installed and everything. For those of you guys who are subscribers, I want to thank you for coming back every week. Sorry we didn't have a video last week. I was in Myrtle Beach with the family on vacation, so but I would love for you guys to comment below. Let me know if you have any questions on anything that we did in this episode, and just give me an idea of what you guys like and don't like so far about the videos we're putting out. Trying to keep them fresh and trying to make sure you guys stay entertained. So let me know below what you think. Thanks again for watching, and for those of you guys who have subscribed, we'll see you guys next week.